so let's get this fixed up for you in a second.
So a color loam, a deck that takes advantage of the card Life from the Loam.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't really rely on it because it only plays 2 copies and can play a very fair game as well. But it does have that ability.
Yeah. You see some versions play Burning Wish. James is not playing Burning Wish in his version. It's more of a...
It's actually gotten more stock recently.
Yeah. You see some Mox Diamonds, some Chalices, 4 of both, 4 Abrupt Decays, 3 Lilianas, 2 Green Sun Zenith, 3 Punishing Fire, 2 Sylvan Library in terms of spells, including the 2 Life from the Loam.
Yeah.
Creatures, 4 Confidant, 4 Knight, 1 Gaddock Teague, 1 Scavenging Ooze, and 1 Dryad Arbor.
This is actually a fairly stock list now. It's popularized by Nicholas Kronberger out of Germany. And he and some friends have been doing pretty well on Bazaar of Moxen tournaments, as well as at GP Lille, I think. These players are going to shuffle. I think Fort Carlome is happy playing most fair blue decks.
Hey, do you want a break?
But Charlotte's is actually one of the tougher matchups. Thanks. So looks like these players are drawing their opening hands. Do we have any idea who won the roll?
Unfortunately, we do not. I do not.
And James looks like he's keeping a 6, scrying a copy of Chalice of the Void to the top of his library. I wonder if he knows what he's up against.
Anthony leading with a fetch. Presumably, we're going to either see Deathrite or Suspended Visions, and we do see the Deathrite.
Yeah.
Deathrite is such a powerful card.
Yes.
We saw earlier how it allowed a player to play under Blood Moon, in fact, even though he had no basics.
Yeah, what a nice start.
And it gains you life. It can close the game. Such a versatile mana elf.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the best 3-drops ever printed. Or best 1-drops. Sorry, I was typing up something as I was commentating. Looks like just a swamp and a pass for James.
So 4-color loam is in an interesting spot versus Charlotte's Bug, as it's one of the few decks that could keep up in card advantage between Life from the Loam, Dark Confidant. It could also shut down multiple spells with Chalice of the Void.
Yeah, Chalice's not particularly good in this matchup. I like actually playing it on turn for 0 to get hopefully deal with that suspended Ancestral Vision.
Exactly. Because by then, you'll probably have your Mox Diamonds in play. So James here.
Looks like he's going to play a Wasteland. I think it looks like he's playing to jam the Chalice, but no, he's going to, I like this a lot better. Dark Confidant off
threatens to bury Anthony in card advantage.
Yeah.
If Anthony doesn't answer it quickly, but we do see a Liliana, which will be very powerful.
Liliana, and I think this game would have been way different if James had won the die roll. So Carpet, Creeping Tar Pit off the top. Land's gonna eat the... It's gonna make a Liliana. Now Glyph's a 0-1, but by activating it, it's now a 1-2 again, so this sequencing didn't really matter. Glyph is gonna rumble in for $1 damage. This is why you pay $150 for the card. And James is gonna go ahead. He could take out a Deathrite or the Tarmogoyf right now, but he has one opportunity.
He can't take out the Tarmogoyf.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, he can actually.
It's a no. You're right. It's a 1-2.
So he punishing fires the Goyf, then he buys it back with.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough red though. He doesn't have enough red.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So I think you take this opportunity right now and just take care of the Deathrite Shaman.
But he can also take care of Liliana.
I'm not that worried about Liliana if I'm discarding Punishing Fire and eventually have Punishing Fire going. But you know, Anthony has Force plus blue card, Jason Mind Sculptor namely, in his hand. I think what's likely to happen is he's going to force to protect the Deathrite Shaman and then eat the Punishing Fire before it has a chance to go back.
Yeah.
Or he could maybe bait out something with a chalice. Chalice for 0.
Just testing the waters.
Yeah. And now, I like that play a lot from James. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out. Anthony did not fall for it. It's going to go ahead, tap 2, Punishing Fire, target presumably your Deathrite Shaman.
He's going for the Liliana.
Oh, I'm not sure I like that.
Regardless, it draws a force. So.
Yeah. I guess his plan was to get rid of it and hope he could slam Knight safely without the Liliana to take care of it. And I like holding up Wasteland. You could represent other things with colored mana, but on the other hand, that allows Creeping Tar Pit to activate, attack in freely. That being said, I think you actually want Creeping Tar Pit to attack because you'd rather the Deathrite eat the Punishing, not be able to eat the Punishing Fire. And Anthony's going to heads up, take care of that right away. Pass the turn back to James. This looks like it's firmly in Anthony's control right now.
Anthony's probably going to get an attack in.
Yep.
Interesting that James discards the Knight. He doesn't have white is probably the reason why.
Mm-hmm. He's holding a Maze of Ith and another copy, I believe. Oh no.
Sylvan Library.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, I assume you want to play the Maze, but do you want to play Ooze or Library here?
You play the Library because the Ooze just trades with the Liliana.
Yeah, I agree. And definitely you have the Maze of Ith to protect your life total.
Yeah.
But instead, James chooses. We'll see if Anthony chooses to edict James here. The Liliana is dead. But I mean, he could just take it up and kill the Sylvan Library, which is why I agree that you should play the Sylvan Library instead.
Okay, this actually worked out better for James. I think James' best chance of winning is drawing into Punishing Fire and another red source. So I think this might be a situation where you want to attack with, if you're going to attack with both the Deathrite and the Tarmogoyf, because Maze could only Maze one card, and Deathrite gets in, but Deathrite is more valuable just on defense, I guess. And here we have Grove. That's one half of what James needs. He has to play the Punishing. He has to play the Sylvan Library right now.
One thing that we didn't mention was the Abrupt Decay on the Chalice.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge deal. Now, Anthony, that hitting shiny card, which is Ancestral, will be able to resolve, and Anthony can now attempt to pull ahead in cards.
So these guys are going to figure out how big Tarmogoyf is while Deathrite goes on draining duty. So Ancestral Vision off the top, coming off the spin, draws 2 Decays and Maelstrom Pulse. I think this game is over.
Yeah. I think here we just want to pulse the Sylvan Library, or I guess Abrupt Decay even, whichever one I guess we could Abrupt Decay and Shardless Agent.
Oh, did you have Shardless Agent in hand?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Surprised he didn't Shardless Agent first, because if he hits Abrupt Decay.
Now, if James rips into Punishing Fire and then has a way to deal with the Tarmogoyf, I think he's right back in it. So it's a little bit premature to say this game is over, but he's very far ahead. And now having a big blocker such as the Knight of the Reliquary is not going to be enough.
Instead, he opts to activate the Tar Pit.
So we have, from our chat, we have Twitch member Punishing Grove informing Crimson Viper that he countered the Punishing Fire. Love your name, Punishing Grove. It's one of my favorite engines in Legacy. All right, here's another Shardless Agent.
And let's spin the wheel.
And I think James hoping for Abrupt Decay, but there's already 3 known decays in between the Graveyard and hand. Oh, Deathrite Shaman. It's very good. James can still draw Punishing Fire this turn.
Anthony opts to play his land.
Done.
And it is not looking good for James.
Nope.
Well, I think this one's
Well, no, I mean, he
Pretty
still
close.
still drawing punishing fires actually puts James ahead, in my opinion.
does it?
Yeah,
Not
'cause-
not in this position.
Well, Tarmogoyf just gets bricked by the Maze of Ith until Anthony
Well,
finds an
Anthony.
answer.
Well, James is going to be at 4 at the end of this turn.
Oh,
So
okay,
he's
fair
at a life total that's small enough where I don't think punishing fire is enough. If he had access to something like Devastating Dreams, which is a card that we often see in aggro loam decks.
the older aggro loam decks ran cards like Devastating Dreams. It made much more use of the Life from the Loam card. We would run either 4 copies of the Loam or 3 copies plus 4 Burning Wish to fetch them out, but it's not the type of deck that James is playing. Replicate on the Tarmogoyf. Okay, it's going to buy him a little bit more time. All right, so James still at 10. He can go down to 8 this turn. Oh, that's going to be much more difficult to beat. He punishing fire off the top. I'm going to say it again. I think it still is.
I think in
No.
this case, with the punishing fire gone, he might have a chance if he draws two relevant punishing fire, then a relevant card, and then and Anthony just whiffs.
Draw for the turn. Ooh,
no.
wrong half of the combo. And you know why I think he hasn't been able to draw his groves? Because he's mismatched. This is unsightly and, I mean, uncalled for. We try to put out a nice product for you guys to watch at Card Kingdom, and then Knucklehead just play with mismatched lands and just ruin
He
everything.
needs to play with some 7th edition swamps, in my opinion.
You're a terrible
That's
person.
my jam.
Oh, here we go. Green Sun Zenith, fetching a Scavenging Ooze.
I think he only has one scavenging ooze though, and that
Oh,
ooze
that's
is
it,
gone. So his only target is his only targets are Gaddock Teague, which doesn't do anything, Dryad Arbor, and Night.
Yeah. So James is going to activate for X equals 3. Anthony heads up, wants to drain before a potential Scavenging Ooze can hit the battlefield again. There might be another copy lurking, and Green Sun Zenith allows you to overpay in a sense, so it's X or less. Let's go ahead and pull up Green Sun Zenith, one of my favorite cards.
Every card's your favorite card.
Well, Green Sun Zenith is in fact one of my favorite cards. There you go. Sees plays in so many different decks. I think this is just like a really well-designed card that's like a staple in green decks everywhere.
You know what card I like? Smallpox. It makes a lot of.
Cool.
It's a really well-designed card, even if it's unfun to play against.
So we see this weird game right now where Anthony's very far ahead. Anthony dealt all the damage to himself while James was getting him his life back. And looks like he never got scathed because he ends the match at 20 life. So that's going to be 1-0 in favor of Anthony. Top 8 Dream, slim but still alive.
Yeah, it was just a game where both Anthony and James were trading resources, and then Anthony was able to pull ahead with that ancestral vision.
Yeah.
And James couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah. What is James going to try to bring in here?
I see a Helm of Obedience Leyline combo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's gonna do that, but that's spicy.
You know, I've heard some experienced Eldrazi players actually boarding Leyline of the Void against Charlesburg. I think that's pretty bad, but if it's good enough in that matchup, does Helm kind of tip it over the edge? I don't think so.
I like GT here.
I like GT. I like Garrick Relentless.
There's a fair amount of creature combat,
And I like Maelstrom
GT.
Pulse.
GT makes it so you'll always win creature combat.
I like Maelstrom Pulse, GT, Garrick Relentless. On the play, I could potentially see Thalia, but I don't think it's good enough.
If you really wanted to, you could play Reclamation Sage if you have enough cards to cut.
And I think James also going to bring in the Choke. I don't think it's quite as good against Charlotte's as against most fair blue decks, but I think it's just good enough to deserve a spot.
Did you mention Thoughtseize? I think it's probably decent on the play. Being able to remove a Deathrite Shaman or Ancestral.
I think it's such low impact that I would stay away from the Thoughtseize. I'd actually board out all the Chalices.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So 4 cards bring in, and for me that would mean Jete, Pulse, Choke, and Garrick in. As for Anthony,
Let's see, Disfigure, Golgari Charm, maybe Golgari Charm. We did see Sylvan Library, right?
Saw Sylvan Library, the deck plays
And
4
Dark
Bobs.
Confidant, and Confidant.
And then just being able to regenerate in response to creature combat, Abrupt Decay, Punishing Fire might be narrow.
It's not high impact, but all its modes are relevant.
Yeah.
So we might see that.
I'm not sure you actually want Disfigure, actually. I think I might just put in the Pithing Needle and call it a day. Maybe I've been... I don't know.
Maybe you could consider something like Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library is defensible.
You really just don't have anything for Punishing Fire. Oh wait, Surgical Extraction. If you're afraid of Punishing Fire.
I'm afraid of Punishing Fire, but I'm not sure about Surgical as the answer. Between Loam and Punishing Fire, I think there are worthwhile targets, but the deck also plays 4 Chalices. Now, if you think James is going to do what I recommend, boarding out the Chalices, then Surgical Extraction becomes much better.
Well, you already have Abrupt Decay, so you have answers for Chalices if James does leave in Chalice.
Yeah. Surgical Extraction much better against Loam than against Punishing Fire. It's kind of awkward against Punishing Fire. You have to time it right. Sometimes it's difficult, but you know what? Might be good enough to do that. And then on the flip side, I think both sides board fairly minimally here. So let's see if these players are ready. We see that they're still shuffling, but could be there soon. Okay, so still some more shuffling being done, but looks like the players are pretty happy with the sideboard configurations, changes they've made. It's like they're staring each other down, seeing who blinks first, and then one person will present it and the other will follow. Okay, so here we go. Couple cuts, and James, Mox Diamond is very good in this. I think I just keep this on the strength of
it looks like a turn 1 Thalia or a turn 1 Bob.
Yeah.
On the mulligan. Oh, and another Bob. I would probably keep that Bob.
I go Bob, Thalia.
Well, I think it's Bob then Thalia if Bob lives, right? Because you want to protect it against Abrupt Decay.
Or Golgari Charm, yeah. So he bottomed the Bob. I'm not sure about that, but there we go. Mox Diamond, pitch the Grove.
And he opts for Thalia, which I think is defensible.
It's defensible. If he has Deathrite, though, it's a little bit awkward.
Yeah. Or Anthony could even suspend Ancestral.
Vision. Yep. And also, this Mox Diamond is less good now.
Did James opt to put the second Bob on the bottom? It looks like.
Yeah, he did. He scratched to the bottom. Dark Confidant. And I'll just play the land right now.
I think you just hold on to it.
Well, there's an opportunity cost of, like, you have to pitch it to Mox Diamond.
And he's just going to pitch it. I think either way.
He has to pay one for the Thalia anyway, so... So he'd have to sequence by playing the Mox Diamond first. So what's the worst card that...
Oh, Golgari Charm. Oh,
yeah,
that's...
Can't do that yet,
It's a... Going into Golgari Charm would probably be fairly awful for James, yeah. And Bob Trigger. Ooh. And another Mox.
Drawing a lot of Moxes. Do you stand in with a Bob here, like looking for a potential trade? I think Bob's pretty valuable.
Absolutely not. I just ship in my Thalia, and then I call it a day.
Yeah.
Pass it.
I agree. Captain QC, no, I don't think the top 8 is obligated to be played on camera. Whether you're talking about a particular individual declining a feature match request, or whether they might split or not. As for the latter, Greg Mitchell is almost certainly in the top 8, and he almost never splits, so I think this will get played. Oh, well.
He attacked with his Bob, and not the Thalia. That is really interesting.
I don't like that. I think, he has a Neither Reliquary now. I think barring something like a Toxic Deluge, James is looking ahead. That being said, Charlotte's Bug has a lot of ways to pull out.
I believe there's an abrupt decay over on Anthony's side. So that's probably just going to meet him in abrupt decay.
Yeah, I would have liked to attack first to draw out on Abrupt Decay for that reason.
Yeah, yeah.
The Knight of the Reliquary is almost certainly more valuable.
If Anthony has like a Liliana or something, we might just see, or a second abrupt decay, we might just see abrupt decay on Thalia. But instead, we just see it on the Knight.
James has a fetch on open, and that could be a Dried Arbor. So.
Yes, yes.
So Anthony awkwardly holding him to Turok. He doesn't know this, but he knows there's one Mox Diamond at least in James' hand. We know that there's 2 Mox Diamonds. He's got a Brainstorm as well. Let's see what he decides to do here. Looks like he's going to play...
I expect a Brainstorm here.
I think Brainstorm's the right way to go.
Or are we going to just see a him?
It's going to be a Brainstorm.
Oh, yeah, Brainstorm. I keep forgetting about Thalia there.
Oh, that's nice. He picked up a Disfigure. I think that's exactly the card he wants. I think James is going to need to soon switch into the Punishing Fire gear of things.
He's going to need to find one, though.
One thing in defense of James' attack with the Bob, which I don't like, but I think one of the easiest ways to win is getting Punishing Fire online. And the only thing that beats it is Bob. Sorry, with the Tarmogoyf. So you could trade a creature for it and then hope you get Punishing Fire. I could see some merit in that, but that being said, Dark Confidant lets you draw towards your Punishing Fire. So Anthony, now freed from the taxes imposed by Thalia, is going to contemplate his next turn. It's probably going to be...
He has a lot of options. He can Brainstorm and then Liliana, Brainstorm, then Baleful Strix.
Yeah, I like Brainstorm then Baleful Strix. Liliana's not very good against an empty board. Well, it is good against an empty board, but not against this particular deck.
He gets threatened to just ultimate it, or just build up loyalty.
Oh, yeah, sure.
To cash in later.
Yeah.
And the Baleful Strix won't have a high impact right away. Because whatever you're drawing off of it, most likely, or kind of likely, you can't play this turn. Obviously the best case scenario is you draw a Goyf. And then you cast the Goyf, but you could just draw, another Brainstorm or something.
Looks like he's going to go for the Liliana. Now the question is, does James get a Dried Arbor and try to get a little bit aggressive here?
Well, he can't cast Liliana with Tropical Island.
Yeah, so I stand corrected about what he's going to get. The Baleful Strix.
Yep.
Draws into a Brainstorm.
Another Brainstorm, which is, I don't think anyone's sad about that.
Decent.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Another Thalia. And I think Anthony's probably slamming Liliana here.
Yeah.
But the Dried Arbor, if it's still in the deck, can gum things up a little bit. So Anthony's got a couple options to consider. He's got a 2-mana Brainstorm, a 4-mana Liliana, but only 5 mana to work with. But he also has a Deathrite Shaman. Liliana's going to hit the battlefield, tick down. Ooh, and James is going to go ahead and bin it.
I guess James doesn't have a Dried Arbor.
Yeah. Or he might just value that land drop more highly than Thalia. I think this game is almost exclusively about him finding Punishing Fire, or at least Loam.
Yeah, right here. James needs a card advantage engine in order to get himself back into this game. Mm-hmm. But that Deathrite Shaman is going to shut off Loam if James does in fact find Loam.
So James is flooding out considerably here. Man, that Dark Confidant would have been so good to have. Him to Turok, target you. Just randomize. He's going to bin 2 Mox Diamonds. All right, draw that Tarmogoyf if that's not there. And then a Brainstorm. What are you looking for now? 2 Deathrites. Oh, and a Surgical. I think you take the Surgical.
Yeah, I think you just keep them all.
Well, no, I think you take the Deathrite, tick up Liliana after playing the Deathrite, and then you have Surgical next turn. All right, so sends in for 1 with his robot. Draw for the turn is another land. Womp womp. So another land for the turn for James. He is in very bad shape now. Deathrite's going to go active, draining for 2. It's going to drop James down to 16. looks like there's a little bit of confusion right here.
He's gonna gain 2 life.
Yeah, I don't think Anthony had double black, triple black, or he does. He does, right? That's a underground sea under that forest.
Yep.
Death Rite again. Oh, so the third card down is surgical. Well, let's hope for James' sake he actually has a copy of Toxic Deluge. So I would just fetch twice right now. Oh, okay.
Was that an engineered explosive? Oh, no,
Oh, I
that's
thought that was a
Maze of
Maelstrom Pulse.
I thought that was an engineered explosives. No, it's just Maze of It.
Yeah. All right, he's going to fetch right now. You know, Anthony's still drawing life to his... Sorry, James still drawing life to his Thespian Stage Dark Depths combo if he can somehow get the Baleful Strix off the table.
Yes. Yes, yes. If, though.
Yeah. But this is looking really grim. The Death Rites are a 6 damage alone. And Anthony looks like he picked up his surgical extraction.
That is a Liliana.
Yeah.
On Anthony's side.
He declines to do anything with surgical. Besides, better off in his graveyard than anywhere else because the Death Rites are 2 turns clock with sufficient instants and sorceries. See, he's got 3 instants in the graveyard, no sorceries, and James has nothing.
James here fighting Green Sun Zenith. So, Anthony's inability to close out quickly, giving James just a little bit of life here.
Yeah. Actually, there's like 4 instants and sorceries. He's going to activate right away because Scavenging Oozes.
Unfortunately, that Liliana is probably going to be able to take care of that Knight of the Reliquary that James is going to try and find.
Yeah. You know, I think I might like going for Scavenging Ooze. That shuts down Death Rite if Anthony didn't activate, but Anthony was heads up enough to activate it. And then if you have that Dryad Arbor, you can still protect it. And then once that's alive, you could maybe start to make some ground.
Well, maybe James sent it out the Ooze. Because honestly, Ooze doesn't seem great against Shardless Bug, right?
You know, I think it's actually quite good there. But
I agree, but
he kept in the chalices.
It's sneakily good, right?
Sure.
Like, when you look at it, you don't think, oh, it's great against Shardless Bug, but it does shrink Tarmogoyfs. It does take away Death Rite food.
Yeah. But staring down 3 Death Rites, I'd much rather have the Ooze than the Knight of the Reliquary.
Yeah, Ooze your daddy.
Yep. Ooze your daddy. So, looks like activation of the Liliana. That just ticked down, right? So it's going to fetch up a Dryad Arbor.
Yep.
Dryad Arbor is going to valiantly hit the dust, bite the dust, and Tarmogoyf is going to join the fray.
Are there not enough instants and sorceries in graveyards?
I think it's just 1 him left. Well, he's still drawing life.
Yeah, surprisingly, I think James probably still has outs.
Yeah.
If he gets Dark Depths or Thespian Stage, that should be an out. That's X equals 3.
Punishing Fire might still do it.
No.
That's not it. Crimson Viper, that was in fact for X equals 3.
Yeah, even though James pays 3, he could still search for a creature that costs 2 or less. 3
I would have
less.
preferred the Ooze, but I guess if you paid 3, you're probably most likely going for 3. Sometimes, though, with onboard tricks like Death Rite Shaman, you want to overpay to mislead your opponent into thinking that that he could do something, and then you put in the Ooze on resolution, and it's too late for him to activate Death Rite in response, because then the Ooze can respond. But yeah, good point there. James is tanking. Unfortunately, I don't think he's got outs here. So Death Rite's going to eat the Thalia and probably drain the him. Yep. And 1 blocker, potentially 5 attackers. and a Liliana at the ready. With just one Maze of Ith to deal with Anthony's board and onboard tricks. Liliana's going to down tick, Knight of the Reliquary. He's going to make one last ditch attempt to do something. Oh, what if he has Glacial Chasm, which I don't think he does.
I don't think he has Glacial Chasm either.
Yeah, looks like he's out of outs. You have Thespian Stage. If he had this one turn earlier, maybe copy Maze of Ith, but that's just treading water until... That's just struggling against quicksand until he gets sucked in.
Yeah, he's getting -1, -2.
Stage is copying Maze of Ith right now.
Okay, cool.
I don't think, even
yeah.
though Stage is copying Maze of Ith, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Anthony takes the match. He is 4-2.
Yeah, improves to 4-2. Probably, unfortunately for him, will finish 9th on breakers, but he's still alive. So let's come back.